get to this point about the stronghold of rejection on my life. 10 years into our marriage was when I discovered the stronghold that was on my life. I just could not understand why, whenever anybody told me no to any request, if I asked them to do anything on that, if I was told no, I would withdraw. I would shut down. I ain't gonna ask you no more. And especially if you can identify this, if you were like me, if you're the kind of person that would do stuff for other people, but they wouldn't return. You didn't do it just to get them to return it, but you still had it added up in your mind that I don't ever ask you to do anything, and the one time I did, the mind does recall all of the stuff that I did do. And it's not that you did it. Y'all hear what I'm saying? I didn't do all these things to get you to return the favor, but I do remember.
I thought you would at least be open.
Yeah.
Right.
So I did not know how. I did not realize until 10 years into our marriage that it was because of rejection that I responded to people and responded to life that way. During our 10th wedding anniversary, I can tell this. Everybody's adults in the room, even my young men. And we went on our 10th wedding anniversary. We got away for a weekend, and it was a wonderful time together. Can I say that?
Sure.
Okay. But then how can I say that? Then I wanted another wonderful time the next night. How's that? Is that okay? And Carol was like, no, I feel like let's just be together, and you'll find this out, guys, when you get married and everything. When your wife just wants to be held. I don't want to do the same thing every single time. Just hold me. I don't just, we'll get back again, but just hold me. I'm like, so I took that as a no. So I got mad, went out and sat out on the balcony of the hotel that we were staying in all night. Didn't I?
Yeah.
And she had the nerve to go to sleep. Like, if I'm at least gonna walk out and be in the room, at least you're supposed to notice that I'm mad at you. So that didn't make it any better on my part. I was really mad then. So I came back in, I guess around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and I fell off to sleep. But we woke up the next morning, and being the kind of people that we are, she's still laughing. Being the kind of people that we are, because we just don't go along in no fight or disagree. We just never have. Just absolutely never have. And so it's like, okay, we got to talk about what happened last night. And for some reason, I got into start talking. I don't even know how this
it just started.
I don't even know how I got on.
Yeah.
Still don't know
You
to this
just
day.
started,
I started talking about
like,
something that happened.
Where is this going?
I started talking to her about growing up and being at church one Sunday, and
it just started pouring out.
And this one time I was at church, it was downstairs, and the church had 2 floors, and they would have services downstairs every once in a while in the fellowship hall, and it was one of those afternoon services, and so my friends were out playing outside of the fellowship hall, and they kept sticking their head in the door and telling me to come out with them, and so I was like, no, because I'll get in trouble, no. And so eventually I went on out with them, and we went into, like we always did, we'd run into the boys' restroom. As soon as we got into the boys' restroom, one of them grabbed me from behind and pulled my hands behind my back, and the other one, boom, hit me dead in my chest. And then they both just started laughing, and this is the story I'm telling my wife in the hotel room after this horrible night. But when I got to the part when I told them, I said, they hit me in my chest. I said, and they hit me in my chest.
I mean, he
and I poured out
broke down
crying.
like a baby. And I'm like,
I mean, like a little kid.
and it was obvious that was the point.
That was the point. That's where
Of
rejection entered my life.
Yes.
These were supposed to be my friends. And they played this joke on me to call me out of church. Just to, we used to call it, steal me in my chest. They were supposed to be my friends. I mean, then from that point, and I mean, it took me a while. I cried for quite a while. But I realized in that moment, it was like how the Holy Spirit just gathers your whole life in that moment. That's why I respond like this to everybody, including my wife. I'm still feeling...
Because, I mean, this wasn't the first conversation we've had about this. We've had several conversations, and we were trying to get a fix on it,
trying to figure out, why do I go into this attitude and this... I don't know how to describe. Why do I keep acting like this? Why do I keep... And in that moment, it all came out. Rejection. I received rejection in that moment. And from that point on, I responded to all of life and everybody. Even as a married man. We weren't pastoring the church by then. Was we pastoring by then? It was the early days of the church. But I mean, God, it's like the Holy Spirit put his finger on it. This is it. This is why you respond to your wife like this. This is why you respond to your family and friends and everybody. Because you never, it's like I realized, I never cried when that happened. The moment that happened, I was about 10, somewhere between 10 and 11 years old. And so 10 years into our marriage, how old was I? 32. So now I'm crying at 32 years old about something that happened to me at 10 or 11. I had held that in. Didn't even know it. I had held that in for 20 years. And that's what I'm saying for all of us. There are some emotion. There have been, it's an affliction. I called it, it's a blow. You've been stabbed. You've been hit. You have been wounded. It wasn't just words. And I'm not just saying this to dig up the memories for everybody, but but to see the reality of that's why. You maybe sometimes you keep feeling like, shouldn't I be over this by now? Shouldn't I just be able to move on? You don't even know the severity of some of the blows. Words that have been spoken, actions. Sometimes it's not even things that were done. Sometimes it's things that were not done. Things that are committed against us can be, things that are omitted, things that are left out can be just as harmful as the things that are actually done to us. The hugs that did not come. The explanations that never came.
The affirmation that didn't happen, that didn't come.